Well, hello. Hi, I'm Michelle Crawford, a certified cannabis health coach, and I want to welcome you to my channel. But more than that, I want you, my audience, to welcome my friend, Ashley Manta, the CannaSexual. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hi.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Michelle.
Many of you don't know this, but I'm actually Ashley's student, lucky enough to be Ashley's student because so many of you might know that I came to cannabis and everything I'm doing today from trying weed lube. Let's just be real. Foria cannabis infused lubricant as a sexual aid, and I enjoyed it plenty. And then I found out it was helping me get over things like UTIs, which was amazing. And, even more than that. So then I discovered all the wonders of cannabis. And in so doing, I came across this wonderful lady here because she is one of the most famous cannabis and sexual people on the planet. And I can't believe I was lucky enough to get into your class. Let me share with you the title, Ashley Manta's Activating Your Cosmic Pussy. There it is. So Ashley, can I just invite you to say hi to my channel audience and introduce yourself and activating your cosmic pussy a little bit with them. Share the glory.
It is my honor. And Michelle, there is nothing that brings me more joy than being a facilitator for you and watching all of the ways that you are growing and blossoming and going into all different directions that I couldn't have even fathomed. I am just so proud for you. So rock on. You are just a delight. So for those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I am an award-winning sex and relationship coach and the creator of CannaSexual, which is a word that I made up and then trademarked. And it refers to mindfully and deliberately combining sex and cannabis to deepen intimacy and enhance pleasure, whether you're solo or partnered. And at the height of really the pandemic, wearing on me, I was so hungry for community. I was so just emotionally fried and really missing connecting, especially with other women. And I love sex and cannabis so much. And I've really been deepening my sex magic practices and my witchcraft and my shamanic explorations, that the idea just dropped into my brain. I was like, what if I run an intensive online for women? I think I'm going to call it Activating Your Cosmic Pussy. And I help women feel more embodied, more empowered, more just in relationship with their desires and able to articulate them clearly and without shame, able to release limiting beliefs and patterns, and connecting with like-minded witches and witch curious folks in a way that feels really powerful and allows them to connect with their pussy first and foremost. I was trained by the amazing Dr. Betty Dodson, who created the body sex method. She passed away a couple years ago at the ripe old age of 91. She's a rock star and a masturbation monolith. And so I incorporate elements of Betty's body sex technique into this program, and it has just been an honor to watch this grow into a really beautiful sisterhood.
Boy, have you ever incorporated the honorable and magical Betty Dodson's works into our program. Definitely. I can testify 100% that I have definitely benefited from your teachings of her masturbatory and self-sexing and self-loving and all of the wonderful, if you don't know about Betty Dodson, boy, you don't know enough about self-love. I am so grateful that you brought her teaching into my life and that you are still here to bring it, to life still, even though she's passed, because it was worthy. So I was going to ask you why now. You kind of addressed it a little bit about, what download. I honestly feel like you just got to download, the universe is like, this needs to happen. It needs to come through you. I believe in miracles. So in my opinion, the miracle of activating your cosmic pussy, that's the miracle that you're performing right now. So tell us a little bit more about the kinds of things that you've been seeing in the class through the pandemic and how it's been helping women like me. I'll say too at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first cohort was in January of 2021, and I have had 30 women go through the program so far. And we usually do a January, a summer, a winter, summer, and fall. So I'm trying to do it roughly 3 times a year. And this time, this summer group feels especially valuable because even though the lockdown part of the pandemic is over, the world is on fire. Like, I think we can all kind of agree that if you look around, there is trauma, there's chaos, there is just a really scary time. Everything is so expensive and the world just feels on edge. And I find that in those times, I need community more than ever. And so this program for me is about creating space for community and also creating space for women who are often the ones who are holding the emotional space for everyone else in their lives, who are the nurturers, who are the doers, who are the givers. This is your place to come and receive. And you don't have to hold space for anybody. You don't have to be the lifeguard on duty. That's my job. I am here to hold this container for you to be nourished and to be celebrated and to be met exactly as you are. We have had women cry the entire time. That's cool. We're here for that. We've had laughter. We've had deep realizations. We've had connections that have gone from just within the group into the real world, where now these women are friends and they spend time together regularly. Like, that's so cool to watch.
Even more miracles. I mean, like, who isn't looking for that kind of connection and community? But also, let's talk about the miracle of vulva gazing that we experience in let's just jump right into it. Look at that beautiful thing. Is it gothic? This is what I learned from your class. You know, how to appreciate the vulvas of the world. Are they gothic? Are they modern? Are they Baroque?
That is one of my favorite things that we do. So in week 2, we really don't beat around the bush. Week 1 is like the intro, and we start to we really go deep. Week 2, I'm like, all right, you've met each other. You're not complete strangers anymore. Let's show our pussies. And this draws directly from Betty Dodson's Body Sex. That retreat is conducted entirely in the nude, and it's a way to really just bare your soul, literally and figuratively, with other people, and there's no shame. And so we start by viewing Betty's sketches of vulvas so that you can start to be like, oh, right, like, let's look at different vulvas that are not live and they're just like beautiful artistic renderings of them, and let's start to look for like architectural structure perspective. Like, is it more Baroque? Is it modern? Is it Gothic? Like, based on Betty's drawings.
Betty's system is genius because the problem with the vulvas is that there's this idea that yours isn't adequate or normal or beautiful. Right. Because how can you tell when we're so secretive about them and they're not widely admired? The shape of the vulva is one of the most beautiful shapes in all of nature. It's everywhere around us. We admire it constantly, and everything else, obviously flowers, you know what I mean? Right. So this language and this experience was just a real, I mean, it's hard at first to share your nakedness, but at the same time, I mean, it's like my hands are naked right now and I'm unashamed. Exactly. And I love them, and look at how beautiful they are. As if my vulva is any less beautiful or any less to be admired.
Exactly. And so what I learned after the first one, where I actually had people like spread their legs in front of the camera, I was like, okay, with lighting and angles, like, this is actually, it gets a little bit blurry. So what I started having my participants do is take vulva selfies, which is a fun exercise, really just like on its own, to kind of find yourself some light, get on your back, get your leg kind of in the right position, and then click that selfie button.
I have kept my vulva selfie. I love my vulva selfie. Like, if it wasn't quote, quote, pornographic, I think it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. She's gorgeous. And so each person takes a turn. They share their selfie with the group, and we all just ooh and ah. And I kind of take the lead in like describing what I'm seeing from like the patterns and the color gradations and the textures, and just loving on these vulva selfies and letting the woman whose vulva we are gazing upon just bask in that celebration, which is something that we don't get to receive like ever. No. The only people who see our vulvas are typically like our doctors and our partners, and maybe our babies as they're like coming out. But like,
yes,
it's very rarely held with that reverence.
It's so funny you should mention. I've been wanting to talk to you about something. We didn't really pass this by you, but we are very open in our class, so get ready for this. Okay, so I have watched a good amount of pornography, and I don't think it's very, negative in most respects, especially since I had a very positive experience with it myself regarding vulvas.
Hmm.
So when you're watching pornography, obviously there's a lot of it for the male gaze, you know what I mean? And guess what males like to look at? Vulvas.
Mhm.
And I can't tell you how many times I was so like, I learned a lesson about like every vulva I saw on porn was admired in a comment by somebody, no matter what it looked like. You know what I mean? Like to me, that really explained that it's our limitation and our belief system. And like cannabis, the stigma of like this part of me is not pretty or doesn't smell or right or doesn't have the right looks and can't be admired. You know what I mean? So I
Totally.
learned a
And
little lesson. Yeah.
I especially love queer porn because there's much more diversity in the vulvas that you see. With mainstream porn, most of them have had either like laser hair removal or they wax everything. So you tend to see a completely naked, hairless vulva. And most of the people in porn, in mainstream porn, are very thin, mostly white women. So I like porn for entertainment, for fantasy. It's so good. I love queer porn because you tend to see more diverse bodies. You see hair, you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
trans and gender nonconforming folks, you see like lots of different versions of vulvas, which I really like. But yeah, like normalizing that if there is a vulva, there is somebody who is masturbating to it.
Absolutely. It is worthy. I guess that's the basic thing. It's like the basic question that everybody has, is mine normal and is it like worthy, valuable, is it valuable? Yes, of course.
It is worthy and it is valuable, and it is not just a product to be consumed. Like it's not only worthy and valuable because there is somebody who would jerk off to it. It's worthy and valuable because it is one of the sources of your magic. And even if you never show it to anyone but yourself, it's still valuable and worthy and beautiful and powerful. And so that's really what the cosmic pussy activation is about. It's recognizing the sovereign majesty of your vulva and all of the ways that it can create magic in your life.
Speaking of which, all the ways that being connected to your vulva and solid with it and can create magic in your life. This is something I 100% am with you. We are in the same army. I am trying desperately, and not desperately, but like, by living my life, honestly, and Ashley, I'm sure you find this too. You just find that you're influencing people about this when you have confidence in yourself and your sexual let's call it vitality is deeply rooted in your pussy, your cosmic pussy. It's activated, you're rooted down there. That energy that's available to you to get through this world is what we need right now, is what a lot of women need, and being cut off from that is the problem that I'm always seeing. I'm always hoping to help women get more in contact with this for the vitality of it all, and
It's
you offer
such
even more like magic to come through.
Yes, it's such a source of power. Like I remember being in the vagina monologues in college, and one of the monologues talks about how like I never looked at my vulva. I just imagined like a satin couch between my legs, and that was good enough for me. Like she was very disconnected and dissociated from her body. And I was like, no shade to anyone, like wherever you are is where you need to be, but the opportunity to be in relationship with your pussy, to feel like there is magic between my legs, there is a portal to other realms, and there is so much potential and life force and like you said, vitality just like flowing through that portal is just, it's a fucking game changer.
It sure is. It is. It really is. I think that is the glow that comes from like, people who are very connected to their sexual vitality have extra, energy, have extra vitality. Vitality is life force.
Yes.
And since all life does come through this portal we are talking about, it's obviously designed for that function. So let's use it, ladies.
Use it.
All right, let's talk about our activating your cosmic pussy sisterhood, Ashley. Oh,
This was the part that I could not have anticipated exactly, but was just so pleased and delighted by how it went. Like I don't go in with expectations. Like I knew I wanted to present this information the first time, and I knew that I wanted the women in it to feel connected with each other and feel that sense of sisterhood within the intensive itself. I did not imagine how deeply those relationships would take root and how they would continue to want to stay in touch with one another and do reunion calls, and that they wanted to meet future cosmic pussy sisters, and that creating kind of a sorority-esque sisterhood would really build this community. And I made a Discord server. That was one of the like kind of inspired things that I figured out early on. I was like, I want people to be able to connect with each other, but not through Facebook, because fuck Facebook, and not on Slack, because everybody associates that with work. So like, what would be a good platform for people to connect on? Discord. And so the Discord server became, there's channels for all the different cohorts. So there's, you know, winter 2021, summer 2021,
private,
and all of that are each
groups.
just exactly, they're contained within their groups. And then there's group channels for everyone who's in that server. And we have everything from like pets, nature, recipes, magic and rituals, cannabis. There's a whole cannabis channel where Michelle has been sharing some really valuable wisdom. There's recipes where people are like making yummy things and sharing how they did it. And then there's even places to vent, and here's where you can kind of scream into the void and be witnessed and be held in your rage. Exactly.
Yeah. I live around the corner. When I started CannaSexual coaching, another business opened around the corner that's axe throwing and a rage room. And I just thought, you know, I was, you know, as a new business starter, you're a little bit intimidated of starting your business. And I thought, you know, if those people can do, I can do this, you know.
Yes.
We need to give the people, you know, all of these outlets. And sometimes one of the outlets is rage. And sometimes one of the outlets is finding sisterhood and, you know, gazing at your body and finding it, you know, to be beautiful and awesome.
Oh yeah. So, there's also a sexy selfies channel where people can post lingerie, thirst traps, and we're all like, yeah, you look amazing. And the cool thing is, it's not an exploitive space. It's not a consumptive space. You're not a product that's being consumed. There's no male gaze. It's just like, fuck yeah, you look amazing. And we just gas each other up.
It is true. And I've noticed there's even around, like Discord has the feature of being able to speak to each other if you're both there, you know, around the bonfire kind of situation. And that's really cool. And I know that people have taken advantage of that. I know I'm in there a little bit, not as much as I could be, you know, but I know it's there for me if I need it. And that makes me really happy. And I know that like when it's active. Every time I go in there, all the channels are active. You know what I mean? So you've been able to create such an amazing thing in just a short time and just when it was needed. Talk about right on time. I'm so glad that you're so inspired.
It's such an honor. Like, I feel like such a steward of this community, and I really want to be of service to it, because this feels like my body sex. You know, body sex is Betty's legacy. She left behind facilitators and a community of women who will remember her forever. And this is what I want Activating Your Cosmic Pussy to be for women, to be like, oh yeah, I did that and it changed my life and I've made really lasting friendships and everything is awesome. You know, like even when things are hard, I still have this place that I can go for comfort and support. And like, oh God, that's just all I want in the world.
It's a beautiful thing. I think that like women getting together is powerful. And when you create space for that, it's so needed. I mean, just that this ability of you and I, you know, as like people who are willing to hold this kind of space for people who are willing to be magical in this way. We're, you know, the call to step up right now is so loud. Speaking of which, you know, that's part, not only am I a fan of yours, but now I'm in your club, right? Like, you know, prior to getting into coaching myself, you know, wanting to be a leader in this space wasn't something I was thinking about. And then when I felt the call to start to really put myself in front of people as someone to follow, to increase your sexual vitality through getting more in touch with your pussy and maybe with cannabis as well, you know, I was so grateful to you, Ashley. Like it was magical. Your email showed up in my inbox and I was like, Ashley, Manta is having a class like to teach people how to get in touch with themselves. And then you were already thinking, because this was like the 4th or something class, you'd already offered this several times. There was already a sisterhood waiting there for me. You were already thinking about the 201 that I'm in with you now to become a facilitator of activating your cosmic pussy. So like your vision and my, you know, you're offering it is something that I'm grateful for and grateful for the scope of it. I'm so glad you didn't limit yourself, right, Ashley?
Thank you. I really wanted to build this into something that could grow and scale. And I know that especially as I'm doing more like live retreats and traveling more, like I'm not always going to be able to run 3 of these groups a year. So being able to create space for other facilitators to step up and run this foundation class is really going to be valuable for growing the sisterhood more. And I can't think of anyone that I would rather trust that with than you. Like, it has just been such an honor to witness and support your growth as a facilitator, and to just like cheer you on. You know, I know that there are people in the world who get very like jealous and like kind of hoard. They're like, this is my thing, no one else can teach it but me. And like, that is not how I approach any of this.
No,
Like,
you're not like that at all.
Nope, I am in full abundance. Like, I want this to go out into the world as far as the reaches go. And so I'm just delighted.
We're beating this drum, Ashley. We are beating that drum and all of the things. Okay, I was going to say that the next question I had written down, because you know we do prepare, was talking about like, could you share some of the real life effects that people have shared with you after taking your courses?
Yes, absolutely. So manifesting is one of the primary things that we learn in Activating Your Cosmic Pussy. And I have had women come to me after the class and say, I just broke up with my fiance and I manifested the job of my dreams overseas and I'm moving to Europe. And I'm like, holy shit. I have had women come to me and tell me that they are doing like deep ancestral healing trauma work with just like intergenerational trauma and going back to like home to where they grew up and doing really beautiful release practices. I am hearing about women who are manifesting opportunities to travel or to teach or to like who call in like an ideal lover or sexual partner who they feel so good about. And it's like, yes, all the things are in place. And this just, I was just waiting to like click into my real power. And then all of these opportunities opened up, and there are just so many more stories like that. And that's been just tremendous to witness.
It's huge. It happened in our class, you know, and it's happening again in this class. Everything that you're saying, I'm like, oh, I think I know who you're talking about, almost specifically. Because that's how much change is happening for people when they engage with this kind of work, if you ask me, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've seen it again and again. Once you start down this path of really connecting with yourself and really connecting with the universe through the pathway that we have been, you know, given. I'm just looking down, given.
Right?
The possibilities are so endless and so strong. I think people are unprepared for the like strength of their will and their magic and their mindset when they finally get here. You know?
Yeah, it's sometimes I feel like the course should come with some sort of like a warning or disclaimer, like, just so you know, this is going to change everything. Like, if you let it. If you don't, you know, if you want to stay where you are, like, take it just for fun and don't do anything with it. Like, you do you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But if you are welcoming the change, like radical paradigm shifting things will happen, like just tectonic shifts in your life will start
to feel like the class kind of helps you become ready for that. You are such a great example of somebody who has manifested so much for yourself that your example as you teach us, and you know, pedagogically we're nerdy. You know, I think that there's more, you know, you and I both agree that like when you learn from example, it's different from learning from somebody's words.
Yes.
So the living, like, you know, the Ashley Manta that lives the life of example and shares with us vulnerably and intimately gives us that example in the course of how much we can manifest as an example. You know what I mean? And I love that you share that with us, because it gives people real, I think we're all feeling out of control, you know? Thank God Mercury retrograde is over, because I could just get that. Like, I don't need the tech and everything just like being against me too. You know,
that was a time.
That was rough. I'm looking forward to better times, you know. But yeah, like getting a little bit more feeling of control because you're in touch with your magic. What could be more soothing in this rough time, you know?
I'm grateful for it. And, you know, your 201 class that we started in April was the first class that I taught post breakup after being in a relationship for 7 years. And so this will be the first foundation class that I'm teaching post breakup. and like recognizing what a different person I am on the other side of that relationship, and like how it was just sucking my life force. And I was still able to show up and like do important things. And like, I'm really proud of where I was, what I was able to accomplish even in that environment. But like, now that the shackles are off and I am like really way more empowered, and I'm doing more healing work, and I'm like going to retreats myself and creating space, like I feel like this next foundation class is going to be the best so far.
I think you might be right. I'm kind of thinking about what it was like before and what you're like right now. I'm only going to say that you're the kind of person who takes every life experience and turns it into the most possible teaching moment that you can. Like, you have a heart of service that way, and you have so much inside of you. And then everything that happens to you, you have the gift of turning it into something that can help me and help these other women. So like, I'm sorry to give you a life of so many experiences, you know what I mean, by saying that, but you make diamonds out of carbon, you know what I mean? You're welcome.
Just keeps getting better, and I keep learning and growing. And sometimes you have to run your head into that brick wall a couple times to realize that maybe you don't want to do that anymore. And then you like walk around the brick wall.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to make those decisions, those big changes, but you've empowered others and yourself. Like, how would it be, Ashley, if you were sitting here still in a relationship that was sucking the energy out of you, and living that as a life of example further?
Right.
Probably
exactly.
wouldn't work. And that's why you're not doing it anymore, because you're not in harmony with that,
Exactly.
It's all so simple when you see it the Ashley Manta way.
Yeah, we got that third eye cleared up, and now it's like, ooh, bing.
Okay, so speaking of ways that we can work with you, so what we're here talking about is the Activating Your Cosmic Pussy series, which starts with a foundational class and then can bubble up into a facilitating course. But also you have had, and you are a mistress of in-person experiences. Yes. So I know you have some of that coming up. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so the foundation online course is going to be starting in July. Registration is open right now. If you go to highpriestessofpleasure.com, you can register for that. And that's all via Zoom. It's on Thursdays. I also have a payment plan option, which if you're curious about the payment plan option, just DM me and I'll send you that link. And then I'm going to be doing some in-person retreats. I'm going to be doing 2 in-person body sex retreats in California. So that will be Betty Dodson's model, with an asterisk. I'm going to add my own, like,
the Ashley Manta spin. Yeah,
the Ashley Manta spin. We're calling it Cosmic Body Sex.
I love that. Yes.
So I feel really good about that. My colleague, Dr. Shannon Chavez, is a licensed sex therapist, and she's going to be doing it with me at this beautiful, beautiful property up in Kern County in the mountains. And so those dates are in July and August. And if you go to my website or find me on Instagram, you can find links to all of that. And I'll send these to Michelle so she can disseminate them. And then I also just yesterday scheduled a women's retreat in Hawaii on the Big Island.
Aloha.
I am so excited about it. It is this beautiful farm that I visited when I was in Hawaii in April. And this woman has lived there for 3 years. They have goats, they have chickens, they have pigs, they have all sorts of cute little farm animals running around. They grow food on the property. So all the meals will be farm to table, which is amazing.
That's beautiful.
And I'm very aware of the ways in which colonialism and settler capitalism has impacted the island of Hawaii and all of those islands. So as part of a gratitude to the land, everyone who attends the Hawaii retreat will be required to do 6 hours of volunteer work on the land, as a way of honoring and being grateful that we are able to be on that land for healing purposes.
Honestly, I feel like if I was to receive 6 hours of being on the land in Hawaii as an assignment,
right?
Like, I'm sorry, actually, that's not work to me.
I don't think it's going to feel like work for most people, which is awesome also, but like it feels like it does dual purpose. Like, you're going to be off your cell phone, you're going to be really present with the land, you're going to get to really feel the healing that just lives in the soil, and you're going to be giving back.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't love it more. I remember one of the last times I kind of looked you up and keeping tabs on your fabulous career. You were doing something in Crystal Cove in Jamaica, and I was like, oh my God, to be Ashley Manta and living that awesome life.
Oh man, that got postponed during the pandemic, but I'm excited to reschedule that for some time, maybe like
Okay.
around Valentine's Day would be pretty rad to do.
Oh, that's a
Crystal
smart
Cove.
idea. That's a super smart idea. I mean, like, we're just now looking like, oh, yeah.
Right. But Hawaii
Yes.
is going to be in September. So definitely check that out. And I'll send all the links to Michelle so she can share them so that you can start to figure out how you want to work together. And then I also am available for coaching. I work with women and couples, either women individually or couples in any gender configuration. And that's a really fun way to get to work with me, where you get just one-on-one time, and we will deep dive into all your communication patterns and things that are getting in the way of intimacy and pleasure.
Oh, Ashley. So you do private coaching for women and couples. You offer activating your cosmic pussy on 2 different levels. And we can join you in California or gorgeous Hawaii live and in person for, what was it? Cosmic body sex?
Cosmic body sex and women's sexual empowerment.
Women's sexual empowerment. I don't know what's not to love about all these offerings. I think if you're scared about this and you're one of these people who thinks you're just gonna, like the person that you described earlier, like, you don't have to participate. You could just come and read the books and, like, talk a little bit and not do all the things. But I think, like, anybody who's really, if this is interesting you, if you've like lasted through this entire like conversation that we've been having and you're intrigued, you want this. So, like, just give it to yourself, because it's not uncommon, or I always have to address this. People always think that they're weird for wanting things, but you're not. And let me just tell you, Ashley told me a little cool thing that happened in her business right before this little conversation. Didn't you tell me that someone cares so much about your program that they've given you a generous donation to lower the tuition for this next class?
Yes, that's
was how much people care, right?
Such a cool experience to have someone be like, I believe in this so much that, like, here's some money to make this more accessible to more people. I love that. So the original price was $9.99. We dropped it to $7.77. And you can either pay all $7.77 at once, or you can break it up into a payment of 3, which I think comes out to like 250 something.
That's so
for
affordable
3 months.
For 3 months. What a lovely thing to do for people. I do also run classes and try to give payment plans, because I do want people to be able to afford it if they can. And I don't raise the price like higher for the payment plan, even though, like, you do have to pay those fees, right? But yeah, just try to make it affordable. And this is how much people care. So if you're interested in this, as I was, I mean, I'm 101, 201, and I'm taking it all away. So, like, so if you're listening and you're thinking, how can I activate my cosmic pussy? Let me tell you, we've got the way, don't we, Ashley?
We definitely do. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I need a sign from the universe that this is the right thing for me, this is your sign right here. You're watching right. This is the sign. Hello, sign. Like, the universe is telling you this is what you need.
Before you go, share about your necklace really quick, because I love this.
Yes. Okay. So this was actually a gift from Betty Dodson. This is an internal clitoris. So it's a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to hold up my bigger model, but these are exactly the same. This one's just smaller. And so this is a 3D printed model of the internal clitoris. And mostly we think of the clit like this little button at the top. And that's really just this part. There's also a shaft, and it splits down into 2 legs. Then there are these 2 chambers called vestibular bulbs. And this whole thing can get erections, just like the penis. Like, the clit is just a bifurcated penis that's 90% internal instead of 90% external.
The penis is just a, like, smooshed together clit. That is external.
Exactly.
Let's go there too.
So I wear this necklace all the time, both in honor of Betty and because people are like, oh, is that a wishbone? And I'm like, no, it's a clit. Ask me about the clit.
Have that conversation. You're like, I invite this conversation. When I had the very lucky chance to meet you live and in person, thank you for coming to my town and allowing
for hosting
service to you. It was so fun. You're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, you were wearing that necklace, and I just love the story, and about Betty and you, and of course the clit, like, just as much erectile tissue as anything else in this world. So let's give it some love, people. Let's get it erect and happy.
Oh, yes.
And on that note, I just want to thank you so much, Ashley, for joining me here on my channel. It's an honor to be your student and also to host you in this conversation. And I hope that for, like, what we're here for, more women to come into sexual vitality and power and magic through this, through us talking about it, and you giving this class, and me going forward with what I'm doing too, right? Like, that is the mission. That is what we want. And all power to us and to the women who are coming to us, right?
Yes. Blessings to all. And Michelle, I cannot thank you enough. Like, it has I keep saying this, but I can't emphasize it enough how grateful I am to watch you just blossom and to provide such valuable service to so many people. And I cannot thank you enough for being you.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. And I deeply pleasure it. Like, I think we're going to have to go pleasure it some more right now, right?
Yeah. Go
All right,
masturbate.
well, goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Oops.